Jai Gurudev and Jai Masters. If you're going to take a journey, there are three important aspects, segments of your journey. The starting point, the ending point, and then the path in between. That's how everything is. The spiritual path is exactly the same. We can talk about spiritual understanding, spiritual philosophy, spiritual teachings at any one of the three levels. And you are taught all of them. There are teachings that start with, why are you caught where you are? Get into your emotions. And don't suppress anything. Just the whole thing about what is going on now. Understand it, involve in it, don't suppress it, and so on. And there are entire teachings that are about the path from where you are, what techniques you can do in order to take a journey away from yourself. Move beyond where you're caught. And then there are the very deep teachings. Generally, they're mystical. They're hidden. The Tibetan teachings, they say they're hidden under the temples, and they're taught in esoteric ways about where are you going. Why? Because people can't understand them. If you're not there and you never experienced it, it's all just talk. Christ said, "Cast ye not your pearls at the feet of swine, lest they trample them into mud and you along with them." In other words, how are you trying to teach that which people can understand? They've never experienced it. They have no frame of reference. They have nothing. It just becomes, I believe, I don't believe. There are many, many great, great masters that they lived in Himalayas. They lived in complete isolation. Upasani Maharaj was a disciple of Sai Baba, and Sai Baba was as high as it comes. Sai Baba is Shirdi. And when Meher Baba, fully enlightened being, when he first experienced transcendence, he couldn't handle it. He couldn't pull anything together. And he went to Sai Baba, was one of the greatest living masters at the time, and asked him to teach him and help bring him back down. And Sai Baba said, no, you go to my disciple, Upasani Maharaj. He lives up in the hills, in the mountains there. And when Meher Baba went there, the story goes, and Meher Baba told the story, that Upasani threw rocks at him. The minute Upasani saw that somebody was coming up, he just threw rocks, get away from me. And there's lots of masters that's what they did. Right? Not any interest in teaching anybody, not any interest in letting anybody know who they are. They were gone bye-bye. What they got to do with any of this? All right? So those are the great teachings. So the part in between, let's start there. The path. Christ said something that, in my opinion, is the most misunderstood thing that he ever said. He said, "I am the way, the truth, and the life, and no man cometh unto the Father but by me." What did he mean by that? I am the way, the truth, and the life, and no man cometh unto the Father but by me. Because it is an absolutely true statement. All right? That's the path. What do you mean? We're caught. We'll spend more time there. I always spend time there. We'll spend some time there. What does it mean to be caught? First of all, who's caught? What's caught? Let's just do it. That seat. Almost all teachings about the path are about witness consciousness. The real teachings. They're not about the rules. The rules, the renunciations, they're supposed to do, they're not supposed to do, the guilt, the this, the that. All that stuff is in my starting position. I'm caught in myself. I only know that I'm a mess, and here are the rules that I better live by. In other words, I want this, I want that, I don't care about other people, I want to take, I need this, I'm going to express myself, etc., etc., etc. And obviously, if you do that, you're going to stay where you are. Why? Why would you stay where you are if you do that? Because all the patterns that you have are based upon where you are. Your drives, your insecurities, your needs, your fears, your anxieties, all that kind of stuff. That's where you are. So if you follow those, you're going to stay there. If you drive in circles where you are and try to think you're going somewhere, well, you're not. The hamster's not going anywhere. Just run around that wheel. It doesn't mean that your drives, your desires, your needs, your fears, your anxieties are wrong. It just means they are what they are. And if you want to stay where you are, then let them drive you. Let that be what you live your life for. It's fine. It's not wrong. It's just you're not going to go anywhere. You can't. Because where you are is what is creating the drives that you have, or creating the way you look at things, creating the way you express yourself, creating the way you think right and wrong. Just every single thing is generated by where you're caught. And so if you devote yourself to that, that's not really a spiritual path. You could do religious things. I go to church, I go to synagogue, I do this, I practice this, I practice that, I read this, I read that, but I don't change. Well, I'm not going to change anything. I'm still going to go after what I want and avoid what that's the foundation of where we're all at, where people are at. A normal human being, you don't want to be normal, by the way. A normal human being is very simple. I want to get what I want, and I want to avoid what I don't want. Now, what it is that you want, that's details. What it is that you don't want, that's details. We all got different views and opinions, right? But it boils down to, my life is about getting what I want and avoiding what I don't want. Every single moment of my life, everything I do, every word I say, every person I interact with, everything I do. That's the starting position. It's neat that we don't have to fill in the blanks. Sure, you want this, you don't want that. Some people want what the other person really doesn't want. It's just, that's psychology. That's down there of, why do I want what I want? Why do I do what I do? Okay? And then you basically look at it and you'll see. You have patterns. I've done this a million times with you, so I'll do it very quickly this time. Where did those patterns come from? Why do you want what you want? Why do you not want what you don't want? Because the minute you want something, if you get it, you're happy. If you don't get it, you're either anywhere from disappointed to very upset. And if anybody else gets it, you're jealous, or you're afraid that you won't get it. Every single human emotion, all the junk you're dealing with, comes from, this is what I want, this is what I don't want. You have patterns inside of you. Where do they come from? Psychology says, and I don't disagree one iota, yoga does not disagree one iota, that those patterns are the sum of your learned experiences. You did not decide what you want. It's your genetics, it's the experiences you had, you basically how you processed everything, what happened with mom and Freud, what happened with mommy and daddy, and all that stuff left patterns inside of you so that now you have certain likes and dislikes. Period. You did not decide these things. You didn't sit down one day, let's make a list when you're 5. No, you didn't. A list would say, I want to be a fireman. Why do you want to be a fireman? Why do you want to be a fireman? Oh, I watched this movie and I had a fire truck when I was little. Okay, fine. Things leave impressions on your mind and on your heart. And if the impressions were positive, you want them to happen again. If the impressions were negative, you sure as heck don't want them to happen again. And depending on how positive they were or how negative they were, is the spectrum of how strongly you feel about it. Look how easy that was. That's like 101, 102, 1503. That's what's happening. Can it change? I can't be the sum of learned experiences. I changed. When? When I read this book. Yeah, some of your learned experiences. When I met this person, some of your learned experiences. I was this way when I got married. I'm very different when I got divorced. Some of your learned experiences. Everything in your psyche is the sum of your learned experiences. You think you're making these decisions. You're not. They are being imprinted upon you by the experiences you're having and how you take those experiences. Well, wasn't that my choice? No. How you took the experiences based upon the previous experiences you had. You dated a blonde in 5th grade. It was the most wonderful relationship you ever had, okay? And she moved away before you ever had a fight or anything. You meet a blonde, so you go on your websites, matchsite.com, all right? And if someone says a blonde, he or she made it past the first filter. It is an impression. If you had the same experience in 5th grade and she dumped you, she's the most popular person that ever was, and then they dumped you and you weren't popular ever since and so on, right? You don't like blondes very much at all, do you? You got something against blondes. They're dumb. Okay? So I said I'm not going to spend a lot of time at the beginning point. That's all it takes. That thing which you're busy being is the sum of your learned experiences. So what does it mean to get on the path, to take the next step? It means you awake enough, listen carefully to what I'm saying, you awake enough to notice that that's what's going on. If you don't notice that's what's going on, then go follow some religion, go follow some treatise and some practice or something. I don't know anything, but he seems like he does, right? So I'll go follow that. You're not going to go anywhere. It doesn't do anything. I mean, it does. If you would have been a murderer, but now you're handing out flowers, good. That's nice. I'm glad somebody taught you, right? But you're not going to go anywhere. You're still staying in the same place, which is, I was a member of a gang when I was young, and so on. So the toughest people, most respected, and so on. But then I realized, well, that somebody came and taught, really, are you doing well with that? No. So now I want to be accepted by being nice. You want to be accepted by being tough. You want to be accepted by being nice. Guess what that is? The same. Now, to your neighbor or to people that interact with you, it's not the same. You be nice, okay? But from a spiritual point of view, you're doing the same thing. What do I want? What do I not want? How do I get it? How do, et cetera, et cetera. So basically, we're painting that picture. How do you get beyond that? What's real beginning to walk on the path? You notice that that's how you are. You notice, I've been like that, and that's a mess. It's not working real well. I'm always trying to get what I want, and it never works. I can get it for a short period of time, but it doesn't last, and I have to worry about keeping it, okay? And so it's not a whole lot of fun there. Now, we can talk about that, but I want to talk about, what does it mean you noticed? Why weren't you noticing before? Same thing was happening. That voice in your head that we talk about in the Untethered Soul. A lot of people write us, I just never saw it before. Was it there before? You bet it was. Well, then how can you come you never saw it? Now, this is the beginning of understanding spirituality. You didn't see it because you were so involved in it that you got lost in it. It was you. What it said was what was. There was nobody watching it. There was nobody detached from it. There was nobody sitting in a deeper seat. That was your seat. We always say, if a fish has never gotten out of water, they don't know what water is. If you've never gotten out of your mind, you don't know you're in your mind. Why? Because that's me. I'm the one that likes this. I'm the one that doesn't like that. I'm the one who believes in this. That's me. That's who I am. Okay, well, obviously it's not who you are. You are the one that can notice that is going on inside. So that's your first level of awakening as you begin to step onto a spiritual path. It's witness consciousness. It's not full witness consciousness. People write all the time. I can do it when I'm quiet. I can do it if things aren't too bad. But then the whole day goes on and I find out I wasn't there one single moment. And then I try to come back and it's a struggle. I need to meditate to be the witness. People write me all the time. And I don't like answering them because I can't imagine why they would like my answer. It happened the other day. Somebody wrote, I just can't. I don't understand. I can't stay there. What does it mean? I just wrote very simply, take a look around you. Don't do anything. Just take a look. Do you see it? Yeah. How hard was that? How hard was it for you to see what's around you? Okay, how about minus 7 billion in hardness? Very straightforward. You notice you have thoughts? You notice you have feelings? Why don't you just see them just like you see the wall and the picture and the lights? It's something that's in front of you. It's something that's in front of you. You are the one that's seeing what's going on in there. You are the one who's seeing what's going on out here. Big deal. What's the difference? None. No difference. Absolutely no difference. You will get to the point, as we evolve further on in this path part, where there is literally no difference. You see what's going on inside exactly the same, with the same amount of effort as you see what's going on outside. Why would you not? It's something going on. You're conscious and you're aware. You're aware of your thoughts. The difference is you get involved in your thoughts. If they say, oh my God, I don't like this. No, I'm not comfortable. I want to leave. You honestly believe that you wanting to leave. That's not you wanting to leave. That's your mind expressing the sum of your learned experiences. If one more thing happens at that party, you see somebody or something, all of a sudden, no, I think I'll stay a little bit. Some of your learned experiences. That's all you're dealing with. Well, when you awaken enough to tread on the spiritual path, you're not completely lost in what your mind and your heart are expressing. You're not like right in them, down there. How do you know that? Are you trying to change the outside world so that your mind is easier to live with and so that your heart is nicer? The answer is yes. That's what I'm doing. Well, then you're married, you're addicted to what your heart and mind are saying. So witness consciousness is that first step where you notice that you notice. You're not going to stay there. It's not there all day. But you notice, and the book helps, right? As do other books, that people wake up and they say, wow, that's really true, that's going on inside of me. I don't know how to stop it. We can discuss that. I don't know what to do about it. Why? It's so strong that I can't do anything about it. It's like somebody addicted to a drug. Well, wouldn't you rather drop the drug? Yeah, but I don't know how. Okay, well, let's just go cold turkey. Good luck. You can't do it cold turkey. You can't sit there and say, I'm not going to listen to my mind. I'm sorry to tell you. You cannot just sit there and say, I'm not going to listen to what my mind says. And I don't care what my heart feels. Why? Because you do care. You do care a lot. You care enough to devote your life to what your heart feels and what your mind says. Every minute of your life. You're doing to try and get things that match what the mind wants and to avoid what the mind doesn't want. And trying for sure to have things be to where the heart feels good instead of the heart feeling bad. Who wants the heart to be in pain and hurting and being ripped out? Raise your hand. I didn't think so. Who would like the heart to feel wings and open, filled with love all the time? Okay? You are committed. Listen to me. You're committed to the state of your heart and the state of your mind. And so most of the beginning teachings, it's just starting to, that's all they deal with. How to be better with your mind, with positive thing. None of it's wrong, by the way. You got to go through all the steps to do a journey, all right? And so how to get the mind more positive, how to have your heart be more open, how to win friends and influence people. Why do I want to influence people? So I can get what I want. Why else would you want that? Do you care what the armadillos think about you? No, right? But you care what everybody else thinks about you because you want something from them. You want them to like you and treat you nicely. And so there it is. So the starting point is you're caught in yourself. You're caught in the lower self. You're caught in the mind, the habitual mind and the habitual heart that is very sensitive based on your past experiences. It can feel good in a billionth of a second. It can feel terrible in a billionth of a second. The heart does that. The mind does that. So you're devoted to that. You're working hard to get everything the way you want. Okay, that's your starting position. That's where you're starting from. You will get to the point, and all of you are, you wouldn't be here, to where you get a little glimpse. Whoa, that's something I'm watching. It's not something I am. If I notice I'm having a thought, guess what? I'm not the thought. I'm going to notice it's the thought. There's not a single thought that you've ever had that's you. There's not a mirror you ever looked in that it was you that you were looking at. It's a piece of glass reflecting you. That's not you. The thoughts are not you. No thought is you. It feels like me. Of course it does. Because you've had these experiences that left patterns inside of you. And the moment something happens the way the mind doesn't want it, you're in trouble. And the moment it happens the way the mind wants it, you. And who's not going to run after what makes them feel good and run away from what makes them feel bad? It's perfectly natural, isn't it? So your first awakening, as I said, it's called waking up. Your first step in waking up is you notice that you notice. Okay? What happens if you do that, little by little, it expands naturally. You start noticing that you notice more often. Why? Because you realize I'm not what I'm watching. I'm the one who's experiencing what I'm watching. And so there's this natural awakening. It's fairly quick in the beginning where it pops back, where you get this distance from where you used to be thrown around all the time. And there are things that can happen that used to disturb you, or, disturb your mind. That's not you. Okay? If you're looking in the mirror at your reflection and it moves, the reflection did not move. You did. It never is anything other than that. So if you're looking at your mind, it's something you're looking at. The mind is expressing your past experiences. So you will start to have things that happen and you realize, wow, I used to get all upset about that. Now I'm not. Why? Because you step back. You're not lost in it completely. And so you start to be interested in spirituality. That's spirituality. Why is it spirituality? Because the part of you that's watching is spirit. What you're watching is not spirit. What you're watching is form, mental and emotional form that happens because of your past experiences. But you who notices the consciousness, the awareness, they call that spirit, whether they know it or not. That's what they're talking about. It's etheric. It's much thinner and transcendent to what it's looking at. So basically you begin to grow. You begin to wake up spiritually. Most people don't get very far. I'm sorry. Most people don't get very far. What do you mean? Meher Baba, great master, said, there are so many pitfalls on the path, and the higher you get, the bigger the pitfalls are and the subtler they are. So what does that mean? If you all are willing, I always say, when I start talking like this, I didn't tell you to come here. Right? What does that mean? I wasn't happy, and I was trying to get a good relationship, and I couldn't get along with anybody because I was grabbing, and I was doing things, I was jealous and insecure, and it's so hard to get along with me. And now I noticed that I was that way. I used to be so lost in it that that's just who I was, okay? Now I see that, and I know I don't want to be like that. Well, how do you want to be? I want to be more good in a relationship and more loving and more giving and so on. Why? So I can have a good relationship. That's why. Why do you think I want to? Right? Because I haven't been able to have good, lasting relationships that are very deep, and I really want to. And so I found a way to do it. And believe it or not, that's a step in the path that says, I'm going to take a side street. I'm not going to God, even though they tell you it is. Remember, there's the end. Okay, when I'm talking about the end, it's very esoteric. Where I'm going is I'm exploring these new states that I'm able to experience, right? And so I'm able to do these different things. I used to tell it this way. You're in an elevator. There are many, many different floors. The elevator stops at every single floor. So you're a certain kind of person, and you're at a certain floor, and the door opens, and it's like dirty and filthy and roaches. I don't think I'll get out there. Okay, very good. That wasn't so hard, right? Go to the next floor. Now it's a little bit nicer animals, but still scary, right? And the next floor, then the next floor, you're a man, and the next floor is women's whatever. I don't know what I'm talking about. Right? Nah, I ain't getting over there. And the door keeps opening, and you keep going up until it opens, and it says, oh, well, a lasting relationship that does this and does that with somebody who's spiritually aligned with you. I'm out. Bye. Right? You went horizontal versus vertical. Is there anything wrong with that? No. No, you're not to listen to me. All right? There's nothing wrong with that. What does it mean? It means that's the level that you're at. And you need to work at that level if the truth is that you can go all the way up. And we'll talk about that before it's done. What that means to go all the way up, right? One thing it means is you don't get off of floor 5. Why? That's woman's apparel. That's what that floor is, okay? However, and you listen to me, if you had no choice, and what happened is your whole mind changed and your heart changed because it fit the patterns that you needed to be working through at that time, you will not write me and say, should I get off of this floor? You'll write me and say, oh, I got off of this floor because God led me there. And that's exactly how you should think, and that's exactly what's going on. Do you understand that? In other words, you're liberating yourself, and then all of a sudden you're not. You're going with the patterns of energy that are going out. That's what you're going to do. I told you, I'm serious. There's nothing wrong with that. We should not think there's something wrong. If you're in 5th grade math and you're not doing calculus yet, it's not wrong. It's you need to learn at this level in order to go to the next level. So it's very important that you understand that, okay? You're not suppressing, you're not ignoring, you're not denying. It's not spiritual bypassing. That's basically saying, which of course there's truth to, that you're trying to avoid going through what you need to go through. You know, you're ignoring it and saying, I'm higher than this, and then basically you're suppressing. I don't want to have to go out and do this and do that and so on, but everything inside of me wants to, but I'm not supposed to. True spiritual growth is not like that. True spiritual growth is notice that you notice. Okay. If you don't notice, you notice, you ain't going to be here anyways. You're going to be out there doing what you notice. It'll be driving you. You won't bypass a single thing. Don't worry. You'll go right through the heart of the city, all right? There's no round, no I-73 or something like that, right? You're going right through the thing because you don't see anything, which is fine, isn't it? How can it not be? All right? That's where you're at. How do you know that's where you're at? Because that's what you're doing. And you don't even know you're doing it. You don't even know there's an alternative. How's that? Okay? So, and then you grow and you get these concepts. The concepts that I'm not supposed to do this, I'm supposed to do this, I'm supposed to be like this, my mind's supposed to be like this, my heart's supposed to be like this. Is it? No, but it's supposed to be. So what do we do about it? So what spiritual bypassing is, which I don't really talk about this way, but basically means I'm not supposed to be the way I am. So therefore I will suppress that because I will put out the image that I'm higher than I am, and I will bypass the growth I need to go through because of what's going on inside of me. All right? So, of course, that's not spiritual. That's not being taught as a revelation. Oh, my God, people are spiritually bypassing. Okay? People suppress when they're doing their normal drives. They suppress when they're doing this stuff, too. They haven't grown enough to realize that's not the path. The path is not suppression. The path is not saying this is how I'm supposed to be, and so I'll be that way. So he'll basically, we'll go off there. So if there's a floor that the door opens on, still a good analogy, the floor the door opens on, this is how I would like to teach it. You do the best you can to keep going up. What do you mean? I'm conscious. I see the part of my being that's driving me, and it has made a mess in my life. And it has also made a mess of everyone that was in my life. Okay? It's selfish, it's taking, and I'm capable of letting it go. Not suppressing it, not denying it, not spiritually bypassing it, recognizing it for what it is, a lower vibration rate of energy, and I'm capable of what I teach. Relaxing when it shows up. It's not easy. It's pulling on me. If it's not pulling on you, you're not growing. It's pulling me into it. Ever feel that? It's pulling you into it. What does an alcoholic person feel when they see liquor? What does a drug addict feel when they see the drug? What does somebody feel when they see someone dancing with their guy or gal closer than we think is proper? Pulls you into it, doesn't it? Come on. It's a powerful force. Why? It's a habit. It's a flow of energy that got used to flowing that way, just like a habit, just like any other habit. Your emotional habits, your mental habits, it's flowing that way because that's the patterns of your past experiences, and your energy is flowing that way, and it is very, very difficult to not go with it. Don't you dare lie. It's very difficult to not let it pull you in. So what do people do? They rationalize. Oh no, this is not me. I'm just helping the other person. They really need to learn how to let go of themselves so I can get what I want. All right? And you do all kinds of things that you hide from yourself and not respect and honor that you have some problems here. What do you want to do with it? If you have no choice, that's why some people come to me and say, I don't understand this happened. I can't get along with the husband. I want to get married. Who knows? Whatever the heck it is, right? Fine. If that's the level it's at, and you've done the best you can, and you see how strong this is, and you feel that's a real conscious person that realizes, I know the door's open. I just know one way or another I'm going to go through it or I'm going to suppress it. I just need to go through this. But if you're not conscious, you just say, no, why not? You only live once. What's wrong with smoking? I don't mind. I have my little enjoyment. Until you get lung cancer. You got to pay attention to what's going on here. And so, but if you are doing the best you can to let go, that's what it means, to not go out that door. That door open, I feel a tremendous pull. If it opened and you're out, then there's nothing to talk about. You're out. If you're open and it's pulling and you're trying to let go, but you can't, right? It'll pull you out. And so what does that mean? Is that wrong? No. It means you go through what you need to go through. I want to hear this, to find out that that's not where you wanted to go. Shh. Don't tell anybody. This is adults only. I mean, come on, man. You've been around the block, haven't you? To see all that sparkles is not gold, is it? All that looks at a given moment like it's going to be a certain way, does it end up that way all the time? How come 50% of all marriages in the United States of America end up in divorce? How many of those, when they walked on that altar, had a pact? Okay, we'll stay together for a few years, then we'll get divorced. None. Okay? And so you notice that you need to go through and learn. You learn. What's wrong with learning? Nothing. As long as you're not copping out. These are deep teachings. As long as you're doing the best you can to go up, there are going to be things that draw you out. And either you're not conscious and they draw you out, you look back and say, whoa, man, I got caught in that, didn't I? Or you're more conscious and you're struggling and you're doing the best you can and you realize it's not going to work. It's not going to work. It's just past where I am. It's just no spiritual bypassing, right? Then what do? If you're a conscious being and you have good teachings and so on, you realize, okay, now how do I use this for my spiritual growth? Not how do I go off the path? How can I use this to help free myself? So at no time are you ever not growing. You hear me? You understand what I'm saying? All right, so now you're going up. What means going up? What does it mean going to the next level? We're not at the high levels yet. We're still on the path. We're on the path. That's what it means to be on the path, on the spiritual path, okay? So what does it mean to go to the next level? You were able to let go at the previous level. That's what it means. Every single time. I'm conscious. I actually saw, I'll never get the words right, but there was a church on 39th Street somewhere, and they're not that anymore. They must have had a very progressive preacher, because they have little signs that they change the little letters. Well, this thing stayed up there for a long time. And it said, if you're not falling on your path, you may be being too strict with yourself. In other words, if you're on the edge, you fall sometimes. You make some mistakes. You stay way back, right? You're not going to grow. You're not going to do anything. So that's how you're learning. You're going through the situations that you need to go through, and you find out, I can let go. I don't want to let go. If you want to let go, that's like saying, I hate Brussels sprouts. I'm going to give them up for Lent. No, that doesn't count. You can't sit there and say, I don't want this, so therefore I grew. No, it's when you want it, and it's bringing up some of your stuff. You're supposed to be growing, it's bringing up some of your stuff, and you're able to relax, not suppress, not deny. You're an honest being with yourself and with anybody else. You're not ashamed of anything. You just do your best to let go. What does that mean? It's pulling me in, and I'm not fighting it. How do I say it to you? I do in the new book. I talk about that tug of war with Yoda, and any of you read that book. It's like I'm letting go. I'm not winning the battle. I'm not fighting with the energy. I'm realizing it's pulling on what? On me. Why am I holding on? Why don't I just let go? What's it going to do? None of my business. Maybe it'll get worse. Maybe it'll get better. I'm not doing this to make it get worse or better. I'm doing this to free myself, the one who's noticing. And if you do that, it will get hot. Have you noticed? Now people say, well, this can't be right because my heart is burning. Well, then it's right. Okay? Because you got stuff in there, and it's coming up, and it burns. It hurts. That stuff is lodged in there. People get off of heroin with what? Withdrawal. That ain't easy. Shakes, this, that, but they do it, don't they? They don't sit there and say, oh, this can't be right, I'm shaking. So you're getting off of your addiction to yourself. You're getting off of your addiction to being this lower person who has run your whole life. How do you do that? Now the witness is waking up quite a bit. At first we just woke up, oh, look, I'm not my mind. Now it's, okay, I'm not my mind. What do I do about that? I guess the thing's still there. Don't you think for 1 minute you should notice, oh, I'm not my mind, that it goes away? No, it does not. And that you notice I'm not my heart. Oh my God, this is neat. I my whole life, it will still run you. You have work to do. And that's your path. That's your ascent. So that basically things will come up. Well, what do I do if things come up? Stop defining the path as there's not supposed to be obstacles. Stop defining the path as it's not supposed to hurt. It's supposed to be filled with love and joy. It's really nice stuff. It's not supposed to be that. It's supposed to be that your stuff that's holding you down, all those past experiences that you stored inside that have screwed up your mind and your heart, are coming up. And you're, this time, managing to handle them. You couldn't handle them when they happened before, so you pushed them aside, suppressed them, did something to get away from them. They're going to come back up. If it's in there, it's coming back up. If it's not coming back up, you're not going anywhere. Okay? So it comes up. That's a whole deep teaching, which you guys wouldn't be here if you read my books and you got that, right? The path is a path, and you got work to do along the way, and basically stuff will come up, and you learn little by little, and then bigger and bigger, to handle the fact that it came up. I'm fine. I guess it came up. Yes, you said something. You hurt me. Yes, this happened. Yes, I got fired. Yes, this happened. Yes, I got sick. Things happen. Have you noticed? Not, oh my God, if God was pleased with me, it wouldn't happen. No, because God is pleased with you, they happen. The path is not about making you happy. It's not about saying, I've been trying real hard to be okay my whole life. Now I'll be okay. Yeah, you will in the end, but not in the beginning. You're going to find out if there's stuff in there, you have to let it go. And the only way it's going is if you let it go. Why? It's trying to pass through you. It always tried to pass through you. You stopped it. I can't handle this. I can't handle this. I can't believe what you said. No, I will not handle this. Okay, what will you do with it? Now that you can't handle it. It happened. You can't handle it. What are you going to do with it? It's called suppression. I will push it away in denial and suppression and repression and resistance. I don't care what you want to call it. No. I like that. No. What does that mean? It means it gets stuck inside of you. Does it ever come back up? Ever in your dreams, or somebody says something? What does that mean? It means you stored it inside of you. The spiritual path, under all circumstances, all the time, is about realizing I am the consciousness. I was not this conscious when it happened. I was little. It was a bad relationship, whatever it was. I wasn't as conscious as I am now. Am I capable of handling it now? Well, when it happened, it was hard to handle. I tell you this all the time. This is 20 years later. Why would it be hard to handle now? It's not even happening. They're dead. Mommy and Daddy are dead. It doesn't matter what they did when you were 5 or 10 or got divorced or whatever the heck happened. But you still have that inside of you. So your spiritual growth is, can I let it go now? Or do I have to keep pushing it away because it's causing me trouble? So here you go. That's what determines what floor you get off at. Well, I don't understand. What's it got to do with the floor? Because the stuff you stored that was uncomfortable, you built a whole conceptual you around it. I'm a person that doesn't like this. Every single one of your likes and dislikes are all built on top of this stuff you stored inside. That's what's happening. So basically, when it starts to come up, really, you have to ask yourself, do I want to deal with this? Or do I want to just run away again? Or run toward or away? Doesn't matter. Going toward, going away, same thing. Both are driving you, depending whether you stored it as positive or stored it as negative. You're just trying to not have to deal with it. And so basically, you go to the next floor, and the next one. And eventually what happens, I'm going very quickly, eventually what happens is you start realizing, you know what? I can handle it. Can handle what? Everything. If I don't resist, and let's talk about the past. I don't do seminars and retreats and stuff like that, right? If I did, right, you would sit there and I would teach you to say, I can handle my past. Can you at least say it? Because if you can't handle it, it's staying down there, running your life. I can handle my past. Handle what about your past? Everything. Anything. If it's past, what do I care? I stored it with pain. It's going to come back up with pain, and that's fine with me. So that's your first step. Now, if you come back to the next retreat, you're not going to say, I can handle my past. You're going to say, I love my past. What part? Everything. Every single part of my past has helped make me the being I am now. And I'm growing tremendously. And if those things had not happened, I would not have learned what I learned. And so I honor it, I respect it, I love it, and I'm not suppressing anything. When the stuff comes up, I throw it a party. Oh boy, I forgot about that one. Here it comes. Which level? The heart, the mind? Wow, there's a tornado going on in here. How you doing? I love it. I love it. Why? Because I've noticed that if it comes up and I let it go, it goes. Maybe a piece at a time. I don't care. All of a sudden, the burden is much lighter. And what happens is, I always talk to you about this, I usually wait till the end, you start noticing that everything you let go of in time, you start feeling higher. For no reason. Everything's just a little bit nicer. The bird chirps. And you go, even though you got fired yesterday. Or even though you lived in Fort Myers and your house got washed away. All of a sudden, you're not lost in yourself. You've risen yourself up enough to where there's a distance between where you're sitting and what's coming up in there. And you realize, that's my path. What? To release what I stored inside. And every time you do that, you get higher. And there's more Shakti, more energy. You start to understand what spirituality is. It's this energy flow that goes on inside of you. That's what you liked with love. It's inside of you. That's what you like with passion and excitement and inspiration. What does that mean? I'm inspired. It turned me on. Well, all of a sudden, you don't get turned off by anything. Okay, now we're getting higher. What is higher? It's always about the witness. You who first noticed that you weren't what you thought you were, all of a sudden can handle what you were looking at. So it doesn't draw you down into it as much. You become I call it a veteran of the foreign wars. I've been there, done that. I've seen it. I've seen it all. It's come, it's gone. I can handle it. And then you stop storing new stuff. You get to the point where you realize if somebody says something, I don't like it, and I push it away, it takes 1 second to push it away. Where do you see how long it takes to get it out? You go to your high school reunion. I guarantee you every single person you see will hit you a different way based upon what happened in high school. So your path is liberating the witness. How? It liberates itself by being able to handle what it's looking at. Right now, your consciousness cannot handle what it's looking at, so it gets lost in it. The more you're able to handle these things, it won't get pulled down, and that's the essence I want to talk about. You will not get pulled down into it. You'll see it. People often ask, well, will the mind go away? It doesn't matter if it goes away or not. What's the difference if it doesn't bother you? So the more you learn that I am the consciousness, and you don't have to say it, you can. It's a nice mantra, right? The great mantras. I am He, Soham, Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahma, I am Shiva, right? That's the saying. You're affirming who the consciousness is. But you don't know that yet. You do know that I'm looking. I know I'm looking, and I know I have more of a distance. Ramdas, I used to listen to Ramdas back in the 70s. I remember one thing he said. He said, I'm standing on a bridge, looking down at the tumultuous water flowing by, and every once in a while, a spray comes up and seems to touch me. And I realize I used to be in that. I used to be in that water, being thrown around. That's what happens as you go up. How did you get out? By not going down. I didn't climb out. My consciousness has always been out. But it's been looking at it so closely that I identify what I was looking at. I didn't ever go down in that water. But I stared at it enough so I was scared to death with every wave that came up and every ripple. Oh my God, I'm drowning. The consciousness doesn't go anywhere. The sun is out there 93 million miles away. But it shines on the earth, doesn't it? But that's not the sun. That's the sunshine. Consciousness sits back in the seat of awareness, and we'll talk about beyond that. We're about ready to go to the final stage. Consciousness sits in the seat of awareness and watches what's going on, just like you watch the outside. And is not moved by it. If it wants to go down and play, it goes down and play. If it doesn't, there's nothing going on. Here, you're looking at this. You want to look at it, look at it. You don't want to look somewhere else. No difference. Okay? Yukteswar, Yona's guru, said an ignored guest quickly leaves. If you're not all involved in the thing, it doesn't do anything to you. It just goes away. So that's your growth. Your growth is being able to handle what you're looking at. What you're looking at is not you at any stage. And so you liberate yourself, you free yourself, you untether yourself. There's no real tethering. There's just you focusing on something that's not you. That's what tethered you. It's a play of consciousness. The consciousness is staring at what it's looking at. And it's staring so hard that it's getting involved in it and it gets lost. The consciousness didn't go anywhere. It's still up there watching. So now you've liberated yourself enough by handling what you're looking at. That's the essence of it. I can handle what I'm looking at. I can handle what I'm looking at. How? By letting go and relaxing and going through what I need to go through. All right? So now I'm in a state where I'm in here and I don't get pulled down. I don't get pulled down. Well, what substitutes for all this messy energy that you used to be involved in? This beautiful flow of Shakti. There's a beautiful flow of energy that starts welling up inside of you. It's just there all the time. Why? Because you're not blocking it. And you realize anyone who's experienced the higher spiritual states knows everybody's there. Consciousness is just there all the time, always has been, always will be. The problem is the consciousness is staring at your mind, at your emotions, at your body and its messages, and out through your senses. And it is so traumatized and involved in that it's busy manipulating, controlling, using will to try and make things outside be the way they need to be so that you can be okay inside. Spirituality is to be okay inside by letting go. And it's natural. You'll see it is a natural path. And eventually you get to the point where you realize all I've ever done is stared at me. I've always looked down at what's going on in my mind, in my heart, and in front of me. And I've been all involved in it. And all of a sudden you won't be. What do you mean? You will be in there noticing that you're noticing. And it will not be pulling on you anymore. Always be something. Master said, till the day he died, God tested him. He would test him, right? This enlightened master. It doesn't matter. There's a little nothing going on in there, and you don't have any trouble dealing with it. Okay? And so basically now you're sitting there in a seat where you realize you're not what you're looking at. And all of a sudden, the question comes, who am I? If I'm not what I'm looking at, and you know you're not, because I'm looking at it. Okay? If you look at the wall, you know you're not the wall. Why? Because I'm looking at the wall. Who's looking at the wall? And so that begins to awaken in you. The who am I begins to really awaken. Not the mind saying, who am I? The one who's there. And then what happens is the energy gets so strong that it starts to pull you away from yourself. What does that mean? You're sitting there looking down at you, but you're free enough not to be involved in it, and all of a sudden there's like this pull from behind you. You always thought it was in front of you. There was you, there's a third stage. There's you and what's in front of you. And what's in front of you is either pulling you in or it's not, and then all that energy is coming up. Where did you come from? Where does consciousness come from? Everything has a source. That seat where you're sitting and looking, what's behind it? Where does it come from? And now you're ready to go to the really deep states. What are the deep states? The deep states are, you realize, I have been looking down. You can't know that when you're panicking, but I have been looking down. Can I look to the left, to the right? There's only a tiny spot. The best example I can give you is I'm going to take I got some telescopes, I like that stuff. I'm going to put it out on the field. It has like an 1/8-inch aperture when you look through that little eyepiece. And when you look, you'll see a whole other world. You see Saturn, you see Mars, you see something, all right? And when you're looking through that aperture, you don't see the field. You don't see the houses. You don't see anything. Really, you only see what's through that aperture. Correct? This is what it means to wake up. You realize I've been looking down at that tiny spot called me. That tiny spot used to own me. I don't have to look there. Why do I have to look there? And you realize, oh my God, is that what's going on? That I'm focusing on his mind and his thoughts and his heart and his body and all the messages that are coming up from this tiny spot in the universe. You know how tiny that spot is? Give me a break, right? This is nothing. Even on the planet, it's nothing. There's nothing. It's a little 5x2 little square. And I'm staring at that. And then, remember I told you 1.3 million Earths fit inside the sun. And there's 300 billion suns. And there's 2 trillion galaxies. And you're staring at this little spot. Now you know you're getting there. When you start, I got just staring, my whole life just staring at that little spot, all right? That's like looking through the aperture. Well, what if I don't? No, it's important when I'm looking. No, it's not. Yeah, no, boom. The moment you stop staring at you, you realize who you are. You are consciousness, the ocean of consciousness. I am the sky, Mother. I am the sky. I am the vast blue ocean of sky, frozen sky, a little drop of the sky. That's a master singing. Yogananda, when he stopped looking down, sky, by the way, means consciousness, right? And when he stopped looking down at himself, he realized, I'm everything. Me who was looking is the whole universe. I'm everything. There's only consciousness. And that consciousness is staring at each one of you guys. But why didn't anybody say so? I don't know. Why didn't it say man was created in the image of God? Why didn't it say my Father and I are one? Why didn't it say as I sit by the throne of my Father, that's the seat of consciousness, that's the seat. As I sit by the throne of my Father, so you sit by my throne. And these things I do, you should do these and even greater things. I think somebody said those things. It's like you realize they all said those things. Buddha, Christ, the great ones. And that's why Yogananda, when he came to America in the late 20s, he said Christ belongs to the yogi. Because this is yoga. Yoga is that ascent from where you are all the way up into the vast merger of oneness. And that's what Christ was, the highest enlightened being that could possibly be. And so are the great masters at different levels, whatever. The point is, how do you get there? By letting go of yourself. Well, why didn't somebody say that? Oh, you mean die to be reborn? And for Christ to sit in the seat of consciousness, completely liberated, and behind him to be able to drop into the ocean anytime he wants, right? I am the way, the truth, and the life. And no man comes unto the Father but through me. That is absolutely the truth. You're not going anywhere except that you free yourself, die to be reborn of your personal self, and then you pass through that threshold of the individual consciousness, the Atman versus the Paramatman. That's how the Hindus speak of it, right? You pass through the individual consciousness into the vast. That means no man cometh to the Father but by me. So basically, there is the spiritual path. Do you understand it? And you are walking it, And when will I be enlightened? That's a stupid question. You're going to reach the point where you realize the fact that the mind says, I want to be enlightened, is just another one. It's just another thing you're holding yourself down. Am I there? I don't know. What do enlightened people look like? Can I look like one? All right? And you just realize, no, it is about whatever I'm looking at is not me. Can I let it go? It's that simple. Whatever I'm looking at is not me. It's something I'm looking at. By definition, I'm the one who's looking. I'm not what I'm looking at. Here's a boat. Can you see the boat? Yes. Is it you? No, it's a boat. Here's a car. Is it you? Here's a person. Is it you? Here's a body. Is it you? No, it's something I'm looking at. It's not so hard, is it? Okay? But it is, isn't it? Because you haven't let go. You just keep letting go. You keep going up. You keep going up. And eventually you reach the state where you understand, I am the sky. I am the vast blue ocean of sky. I am a little drop of the sky. Frozen sky. All right. I hope that helps. Okay. Very good. Jagged.